Good evening. I would like to welcome you all to the Augusta Board of Education business meeting. If we could all please rise and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I believe the first item on the agenda this evening is a presentation by Chelsea Ray of the Maine French Heritage Language Program. Chelsea, welcome.
Bonsoir. Thanks for having me. So my name is Chelsea Ray, and I'm an assistant professor of French at the University of Maine at Augusta. And with me tonight is Benoît Le Dévédec from the French Heritage Language Program in New York. And we are here today to speak with you about the Maine French Heritage Language Program. I'm the coordinator of the program in Augusta. And I've asked a few people to come tonight, hoping they would come support the program. So if you're here for the program, please stand. Wonderful, thank you. And we do have a few families who I hope we have some time. They can say a couple words at the very end. We're going to be very brief. I teach French language classes at UMA, and I've had an interest in teaching children languages for over 5 years. When I started speaking French at home to my own children, Aline and Chloe, in order to raise them bilingually. At the same time, I created Fun in French for Kids at UMA, a Saturday morning class which parents and children attended together once a month. So I ran Fun in French for Kids for 3 years. I've been working in the schools on after-school programs for over 2 years now. In spring 2011, the UMA French Club received a small grant from the Quebec-based Center of the Francophonie of the Americas to hold Le Soleil, which was 2 4-week French language sessions for 4th and 5th graders at Gilbert and Lincoln schools. So it's kind of a precursor to our pilot program. We started planning for the Maine French Heritage Language Program in fall 2011 when we started conversations with the French Heritage Language Program in New York about building an after-school program that would run throughout the school year and be convenient and inexpensive to families who wish for their children to be exposed to a second language and learn more about Franco-American culture in Maine. The initial planning team included Julia Schultz, founder of the Penobscot Language School and French reacquisition specialist, and Louise Tanguay-Ricker, elementary French teacher at St. Michael's School. Our coordinating team has grown now to include Doris Bellil-Bonneau, coordinator of a sister program in Auburn, supported by the Franco-American Heritage Center in Lewiston, as well as Jean-Claude Redonnet, Professor Emeritus of the Sorbonne University in Paris and specialist in French-speaking cultures around the world. And all of these people were writing our curriculum last summer, including myself. So our classes are held twice a week for 4.5 hours in order for the children in the program to have substantial exposure to French. So we even do snack time in French. So if the kids want to eat something, they have to say, je voudrais une pomme, je veux du lait, je veux quelque chose. They have to actually use the French in order to get the item that they want. As many of you know, this amount of time in a language program allows children to make progress much more quickly, as students often get very limited time with the language. For example, there's certain programs I've heard about that are 30 minutes a week or 60 minutes a week. That's very small in comparison. So we have a luxury. Indeed, there are currently no language options for the Augusta elementary schools, and our program extends the school day and fills this need. It is our hope that language can be brought back into the regular elementary curriculum in the future. We have created a rigorous academic program designed to support scholarly achievement and build confidence in the children around language learning. So an example of this is Anna Martin. She's a 7th grader who was in the program last year at Lincoln, and what she tells me in her junior high class is she's actually teaching the other children, other kids, what she learned in the program last year. And so I told the kids that this week that, hey, you know, you're learning things that in junior high you'll be helping other people learn, and they really started to think about that no matter what your age, it's kind of the same level, and then you have to build on that. So I was very pleased to hear that from Anna. And she was able to learn this new skill and bring an excitement about learning languages into her work at the junior high level. We have 2 classes for this, 2 locations for the classes, Lincoln School and Hussey School, and children from Gilbert and Farrington are bused to class. This transportation is provided by the Augusta School Department. We are also provided snacks from the nutrition program this year as part of the school's contribution to the program. In order to serve as many children as possible and to support children multiple years as their skills develop, our classes accept a wide range of grade levels. So I think I'll change here. Our program is designed with families in mind. For example, whole families are able to enroll their children in the same program. At Lincoln School, we have 1st through 6th graders, and at Hussey School, we have 1st through 4th graders. We plan to raise this age next year so that the children who wish to continue can do so. Our classes have 15 children total, with 3 members of the teaching team, so they receive plenty of individual attention, which I think is very important in confidence building, in learning, and especially with languages. And I'll talk a little bit more about the teaching triangles a bit later. So we offer 2 18-week sessions per year. Auburn also has a year-round program, and parents pay a modest tuition. Classes are less than $5 per session, and this includes a healthy snack and all materials, as well as certain extracurricular activities if we're able to offer those. In order to make the program more affordable, we offer 8 scholarships per session, so that's 8 scholarships out of 30. We're really trying to make the program accessible. We are able to afford the program at such low cost because of the generosity of our sponsors. We have local, national, and international funding sources, as well as in-kind support. At the local level, UMA has provided extraordinary support to the program and supports the UMA apprentices who serve as teaching assistants in the classes. Doris Bilil-Bonneau is the coordinator of the Auburn program, supported by the Franco-American Heritage Center in Lewiston, under the direction of Louis Morin. She and I collaborate by sharing resources such as curriculum, designing the training program for the teams in both cities. Last year, for example, one of our training sessions was part of the American Association of Teachers of French Maine chapter conference. Bangor Savings provided a 2-year grant for support of our scholarships, and we have funding as well from the Maine Humanities Council. On the national level, the Boston-based Windover Foundation is providing support, as well as the French Heritage Language Program, which now supports classes for French-speaking immigrants in New York and Miami, and also supports courses in Boston and in Maine. And this is the ongoing support of the program that's made it possible, and we're lucky to actually have Benoît Le Dévédec himself here from New York tonight to talk a little bit more with you. As previously mentioned, the Quebec-based Center of Francophonie of the Americas is also a supporter, which helped fund the Spring 2011 Le Soleil program, and they have also provided ongoing support. I will now go over several of our primary objectives and touch upon 3 of our core principles, which you have a copy of. So, our objectives are to bridge the gap between generations and draw on the skills and talents of the rich bilingual generation living in Augusta. And that was one of the reasons I got involved, was I saw what an amazing resource this is in Maine and how it's been overlooked, I feel, in many ways. Also develop connections between the richness of Maine's Franco-American heritage, language, and identity and the Francophone world, and develop an emerging proficiency in French, as well as create a model that can be duplicated and sustained. And we have other cities in Maine that are asking about our materials, who want to know how we've built the program, to want to know how to create something in their community. The program uniquely aims to bridge the gap between generations, and students develop pride in Maine's Franco-American heritage and their identity, as well as make connections to the diversity of Francophone countries, thus validated the value of learning a second language. We also hope to promote social cohesion by working with community groups such as Le Club Calumet in building ties between French-speaking community members in Maine, in the US, as well as in Canada and France. So I won't go over all the core principles, but I have just a couple I wanted to highlight. The classes will be taught by teaching duos or trios to assure that classes continue. Whoops, I'm on the wrong core principle. Number 1, classes are held in French only. Instruction should be at least 80 or 90% in French from the first day forward. The idea is to immerse the children in a French-only classroom so that they learn to function in basic activities, while learning more about Franco-American culture and French-speaking cultures in the world. Core Principle 7, and this is one of the most important, I think, we hope to engender a deep respect in the students for North American French, in particular as it is spoken in Maine, as well as a better understanding of Franco-American culture. In addition, they will leave the program understanding that there is a multiplicity of French variants in the world, with North American French holding an important place, even though it is in the past often been overlooked or discounted. And then finally, core principle 8. Ideally, children will come to sense on an intuitive level how language and culture are tightly intertwined, and that by learning a language, we come to learn and value the culture as well. So they're living it. It's not just an intellectual activity, but it's more of something that they integrate into their own self-knowledge. So the goals of the program are to teach the French language and cultural components at the same time. We worked very hard last summer on the new curriculum, and our new curriculum showcases Franco-American culture in Maine, as well as other cultures, such as cultures in Senegal, Madagascar, from Quebec. So we have a variety of different cultures we try to bring into the curriculum. We have 4 themes this year. Vivons ensemble en français, roots and identity. Célébrons en français, traditions and celebrations. Partageons la nourriture en français, food and manners. And chantons, lisons et jouons en français, stories, songs, and games. We have innovative teaching triangles, which relates back to core principle 6. These are intergenerational teams, which was really important to me. We have a teacher who's trained and fluent in French, as well as French-speaking community members who wish to retain their French and pass it on to the next generation. We also have apprentices. Here in Augusta, we have UMA students who are learning French, and in Auburn, Bates College students help. The idea is to embody variants of French. From Canada, we've had speakers from Rwanda, France, Madagascar, Togo, all kinds of different places. We have built a comprehensive year-round training program developed during our pilot phase last year. So we present cutting-edge pedagogical approaches to teaching children a second language. We talk about classroom management, assessment. Each writer of the curriculum sections presents that section and how best to approach teaching it to the children. In addition, we have a language portfolio for our assessment. We are currently using a portfolio based on the European portfolio for children's language learning, where children themselves can assess where they are at. We use this as a motivational tool as well. We meet with families once a theme, so about 4 times a year, for an open house where parents can come and talk to the teacher and find out more about the children's progress. The children might even do something like sing a song or show artwork or do a little skit or something so that the parents start to understand better of what the children are getting out of the program. And so I just wanted to show a couple of pictures to you. Here we have the cultural associate and apprentice working in the classroom. And we had Cindy Larocque visit Lincoln School this last fall to demonstrate traditional French-Canadian dancing. And they were actually joined by the aftercare children to learn what she called peeling the banana, where they were kind of moving outward. It was very, very fun. We have here Blackie Bichard, past president of Le Club Calumet, who visited Lincoln School last year to show the children the traditional snowshoeing costume. And in fact, the kids did the snowshoeing again today, and it's their favorite day out of the entire curriculum. They love going out and learning that. They got to try on the costume themselves. Here we have Sandy Arbour, who's teaching her native French in the classroom, and we try to use things like puppets and things that are going to engage the kids on an emotional level. Jordan Benison, who's a native of Togo and teaches music at Colby College, taught the children music in Auburn and did an amazing job, and they all got to try on the costumes as well. You can see that here. Here's Vani Eames, and she's sharing her heritage from Madagascar. And in fact, she's now speaking more French to her children through doing the program and learning some of the pedagogical approaches to language learning for kids. Now she's passing on her French to her own family as well as helping the children in the program. Franco-American singer, storyteller Michael Parent presented a concert last year and is coming back this year. We're very lucky. And the children are able to practice at home with a CD and then come enjoy the music in a second language. So they almost are learning without realizing that they're learning something. My UMA students in the French minor program came, and I had to teach them how to teach. It's actually much more complicated than you would think. It took me 2 hours to explain how to read a children's book to the children in a way that would be comprehensible input, that they would understand the images and simplify and use motions and, you know, really point to what you're talking about. So it was a much more complicated task than I thought it would be. And here's another picture of that. The reason I'm personally involved is that I feel that French is a vital part of Maine's heritage and can be a key to the future as well. Our logo is Le Français, c'est notre héritage, and our key to the world, so a bilingual logo. Our program encourages the internationalization of the elementary curriculum in Augusta and aims to foster academic growth and build confidence in the children. French has been discounted in many ways. We hope to reverse this trend and encourage pride around Maine's heritage. As the program builds, we hope to be further integrated into the schools and continue to enjoy strong community support. Benoît Le Dévédec will now talk about his work in New York and why the French Heritage Language Program supports French in Maine. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Chelsea, and good evening, everybody. I'm Benoît Le Dévédec, the coordinator of the French Heritage Language Program. I'm very happy to be here. I won't be speaking long. I'm mainly here to support Chelsea and this fantastic program, which I believe has a bright future here in Maine. Just a few words about the French Heritage Language Program. We are a program of a non-profit organization based in New York, which is called the French American Cultural Exchange. It works in partnership with the French Embassy in the US. And the reason why we were created was 6 years ago in order to fulfill a mission of helping underserved communities of French-speaking background to help them have the opportunity of keeping learning their language and maintain strong connections with their respective cultures and identity. As Chelsea mentioned, the many budget cuts that happened in the public school system did not allow many children to carry on learning world languages, and that affected the French language too. And in New York, there are many communities of French-speaking background that do not have necessarily the financial means to access this world language education in private schools. So we began helping some public high schools in the Bronx and Brooklyn. And gradually we developed a way of teaching French that was actually different from the French that you teach in a French school and from the French that you teach also to a non-French heritage speaker. So we began developing some teaching resources and doing a lot of research on how to best adapt the teaching techniques to this population and how to integrate them as well within the regular curriculum of these public schools so that it would serve these students better integrate them schools too. And we grew from one very small pilot program in one high school with about 25 students to now having in New York 500 students from elementary to high school level. It keeps growing. We inspired the creation and helped the creation of a similar program in Florida, working mostly with the Haitian population. And then in Boston, and now this is quite new, but we are very proud of it, in Maine. So you will ask me, what is the connection? It's all about preserving your heritage and identity and language. And what's really inspired us in helping this very original educational project was when my predecessor came here, when he heard about this initiative, first from the French consulate in Boston, that there were these people trying to, reintegrate French where it disappeared, but tried to bring French back in an original way that would not be taught in a classical French as a foreign language way that would be very foreign to the population being taught. Then we thought maybe we could help them. And once Chelsea Ray and Doris DeLille-Bono presented their project to us, we were very struck by the seriousness, coherence, and professionalism that was behind this project. And I have to say that we've not been disappointed. After the first 6 months of the pilot project, I have to say that It's my third time here in Maine. That's the second time that I've visited a class in the Maine French Heritage Language Program. And I'm always very much impressed and moved by what is happening between this generation of French speaker teaching with a professional teacher and a young student, a college student, to some kids that barely know anything about the history, the local history, and are being taught this local history in an after-school program that is not compulsory, but for which parents are motivated to bring their children. And with all the work that has been done in the background, mostly on a volunteer basis, because these people work, they do not work for money, I'm telling you. They work because this is part of them, and they want to bring their own person into it. It's an example, it's a model. And we are proud to support it, and we will keep on supporting it. So thank you, that's all I had to say.
So we just have a couple words from Stacy Fortunato and Jennifer Day, if you'll come up, and we'll end on that note of a couple impressions from some families.
Good evening. I'm Stacy Fortunato. I'm a mom to a third grader at Lincoln School who's been involved with the after program now for 2 years. I guess our biggest benefit is how he's been able to communicate with his grandmother, who grew up speaking only French, and they've opened up a new communication tool. So now when they Skype each other, she's in Florida, now they're able to connect in a different way. He also gives lessons after school to his little brother, who's 2. So today he taught him how to say bleu. So he's very proud of that. So it's really great to see him using French on an everyday basis, not even thinking about it, and he's merging English and French and interchanging back and forth. So it's been a really exciting thing for our family.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Day, and I have a second grader at Lincoln as well, and this is her second year in the program. We don't have Franco-American roots in my family, but I have a child that was thrilled to go to the Maine State Museum and explain the Franco-American contribution to the textiles at that section of the museum. I've never stopped and looked at that section as in depth as I did with her that day. The driving force for me, the thing that I get excited about, is that it's taken Jasmine's perspective of the world, that it doesn't end at the end of her street or the end of her neighborhood or outside the borders of Augusta, Maine. She's connecting how people are interrelated throughout the world. And the #1 gift on her Christmas wish list was for a globe, because she wanted to see where Haiti and Madagascar and Canada were and see how they were all connected by this language that she was learning. So I'm very passionate about the commitment that I'm hoping the city will make to keeping it in the school systems.
So we wanted to find out if you have any questions for us.
Anyone have questions? Nikki?
Are most students that are currently enrolled, are they already in a French class of some sort, or they have no exposure whatsoever to French at all?
Well, there is no longer any elementary French in the Augusta schools, so this is their only option for French. They might be getting some at home, but most don't, in fact. And what we're trying to do is inspire the children, so once they have an experience with the language, if they have a French-speaking family member, it inspires them to make that connection, and it helps the family member, too, kind of see that the child's coming towards them and wanting to learn. Because it's one thing to know a language, it's another thing to know how to teach it. And so what we're trying to do is model that for the community members and the family, so that it gives them more ideas of how to build that bridge, because I think it's very, very important to build the bridge.
Other questions? I guess not. What a great presentation. I'm very impressed with what you guys are doing with the kids.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming this evening.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thanks.